What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the 11th studio album from the British metalcore band Architects, titled The Sky, The Earth, and All Between. It was produced by ex-Bring Me the Horizon keyboardist Jordan Fish, and it is the first record without lead guitarist Josh Middleton since 2016. He left the band in 2023 due to creative differences, and I can completely see why, because it's really hard to even tell if there was a lead guitar in their past two records. All right, I'm sorry, but Architects fans kind of fall into two different categories for the most part. Those that love everything up to Holy Hell, which came out in 2018, and those who basically love everything and don't really care what the band sounds like or what they do. Unfortunately, I fall into the former group. My favorite album from this band is Daybreaker, which came out in 2013, which is 12 years ago, which is, wow, yeah. Architects didn't really become a household name, though, until they dropped All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us, which is the predecessor to Holy Hell. And honestly, both of these albums really defined what metalcore should sound like, and it gave other bands a blueprint for it that they would be more than willing to follow. Unfortunately, again, their last two albums, For Those That Wish to Exist, and also The Classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit, saw them lose pretty much all of their originality to the point of sounding more like bands that were copycats of Architects as opposed to just Architects sounding like Architects. Both the albums had very sterile songwriting, boring and cliche lyrics, and the production was just so strong it killed off pretty much all of the musical instruments that could be heard. And because of that, both these albums felt very soulless. And that brings up the question, why am I doing a review on this album if a lot of you are going to say, I've already made up my mind that I hate this band and I hate everything they do, so I'm already biased. But there are plenty of times that I have disliked a band's previous album and did a review on the new one that was coming out and completely turned me around, changed my opinion, fell back in love with the band. It's happened with Silverstein, Bring Me the Horizon, Dance Gavin Dance, Touche Amore. The list goes on and on and on. I never just decide that a band sucks and completely write them off. I always have an open mind when going into any of these reviews. So before all of you guys start saying that, which I'm sure you're going to anyways, I hope that Architects is able to do that as well. I'm hoping that they're able to turn around. You know, they had a lot of changes. They lost band members, hoping that maybe they can kind of find their footing after some of the tragedy they went through. So yeah, I'm always hoping for the best, you know, especially since the first single they released, Seeing Red, it did seem pretty promising. It's about the band's frustration with fans, saying that their music isn't really heavy enough. But in my opinion, I don't really think that's their problem. I mean, any band can be heavy, but the main thing that I feel like they're lacking is creativity, mostly in, you know, the riffs, the drums, the lyrics, pretty much all their music. And this song is clearly heavy. The intro is gnarly. The riff and the verse is okay. I kind of like the choir being like the metaphor for the fans, which is kind of like a hive mind kind of thing. It sounds really cool. Honestly, the chorus sucks. It's almost clever, but I feel like it doesn't actually say anything, unlike verse 2, which I found to be more vulnerable and just in general, just more honest about the way they feel. The vocals and the breakdown are absolutely fierce. I enjoyed that. It's heavy, but, you know, not really understanding what the fans want. They kind of miss the three parts of what we want to see creative-wise, and because of that, it's an okay song. To me, it loses its fire after 2 or 3 listens, I guess. The first time you hear it, it gets you pumped up, and the more you listen to it, the more it just feels very superficial. And Curse was the second single that they released, and I feel like this one is definitely a step up. The drums are powerful. The riff gets a little bit more spotlight. Not enough, but it is definitely there. The chorus, again, unfortunately, is just garbage thanks to the lyrics, but the melody is kind of addicting. And then they gave us the song Whiplash, which has some of the gnarliest vocals in the verse. And to me, the lyrics saved the song a little bit. They're actually pretty solid. And the passion in the pre-chorus is absolutely killed by the chorus, but everything else, it just kind of works, including the build-up and the bridge that goes into the breakdown. Since the lyrics aren't really too great, but honestly, it's a breakdown, so you expect it to be kind of cheesy and in your face, and you can't really understand what he's saying. So you kind of have a little bit more leeway there. And then we have the song Black Hole, which was the fourth single they released, has a really promising intro. The chorus is only good because of the melody once again. The production and the verses sucks all of the soul out of them. It's the best part of the song is easily the outro. The drums and the vocals go into beast mode, and because of that, it kind of makes it a little bit easier listening to like the rest of the song, just because you know the outro is going to be pretty good. And then we come to the fifth single they released, Everything Ends. It's the slowish song on the album that's more focused on synth pop elements and a little bit more atmospheric in that sense. And with that said, I gotta say this isn't a bad song. As far as Architects and knowing what they can do, especially hearing things in the past and knowing what they're capable of, if they set their minds to it, it is a bad song. But as far as like a pop song goes, it works. It's not at all bad whatsoever. And then they released the song Brain Dead, which is one of my main issues with this album. It's not the song itself, but it's the fact that they released half of the songs off of this album were singles. And the first single they released, Seeing Red, came out in 2023. And it's not really that bad. Like, looking at singles, they're mostly radio play stuff, things that you would find on like high octane radio, nothing really thought provoking. It's very superficial. Lyrics are pretty cheesy. And considering the fact that half of the songs fit into that category on this album and they actually released it as singles, it just really shows you like the direction this album's going in. But overall, Dead End is a pretty decent song. The drums do a lot. The production unfortunately kills off the riff. But admittedly, I actually kind of like the chorus in this one. It reminds me a lot of something that modern Bring Me the Horizon would do with its party vibe that actually fits the lyrics, even though, you know, it's a complaint that they're not that great. But it just fits the atmosphere of what the song is about. And moving now into the deep cuts, finally, the opening track, Elegy, has, again, some really strong pop vibes, mostly in the vocal melody. It becomes aggressive about a minute through with the yell and vocals that are pushed so freaking hard. The riff is great in a very genty way. I actually enjoyed this opening track quite a bit. And it's just an all-around good opening track, which gets you ready for everything else you're going to hear on this album. Evil Eyes is another fantastic song. It reminds me a lot of their earlier stuff. The fierce verses are almost painful in terms of just the emotion that's coming across. The chorus felt like Euphoria, which is fantastic. I know it isn't going to win a lot of people over, honestly, but I feel like this is one of the best songs that this band has written in the past 7 years over the course of their last 3 albums. And it's easily my favorite song on this record. It does kind of fall apart though with the next song, Landmines. The lyrics are cliche and cringy, which is sad because the theme of taking meds to numb pain is very powerful. And if done right, it could have been really good, but unfortunately it just wasn't. The music is also very boring compared to all of the songs that came before it, including a lot of the singles. It is easily one of the most skippable songs on this album. And next we have the song Judgment Day, which is confusing. It kind of comes out of left field. It's mostly like an industrial pop song featuring Amira Elfkey, who sounds fantastic, but the lyrics are just not there. Rain, rain, go away, leave me in binary. They rhymed away with binary, and it kind of works, but I mean, and that's just the chorus. Honestly, the rest of this song doesn't really actually say anything either. Broken Mirror is another one of the saddest songs on this album, and honestly, I actually kind of like the lyrics on this one. The imagery and the metaphors work very well. The song doesn't really come alive until the breakdown, which feels out of place just because of how angry it is. I feel like this band has this really weird misconception of what fans want and what they actually want, which is, like I said, more creativity. We don't just want it to be heavy, because any band can be heavy and still suck at the same time. The thing is when they think that, they think if they have a slow song, fans aren't going to like this. So what we need to do is we need to put like a really heavy breakdown in there, when realistically it just sounds like a mess. Like it doesn't, like they didn't really know what to do. The writing is very formulaic at that point. So Yeah, I know. I feel like the breakdown kind of ruined it, even though it brought the heaviness that they think everybody wants. And then we come to the closing track, Chandelier, which has a pretty nice touch to it because it has the same kind of atmosphere as the opening track, Elegy. Musically, this song is pretty emotional. The lyrics are what you would expect at this point. I'm not going to dive too much into them, especially given the fact that it's more of a pop song than anything else. It is a decent closer, though, considering the rest of the album, and it kind of incorporates all the other sounds that you've heard throughout the rest of the album, which makes me sound really stupid for everything I say about the last song, because the last song is super formulaic, and I feel like Chandelier, they really show a little bit more creativity. They really show that they do have it in them to write interesting songs, even though it's not, super crazy and over the top. Like most diehard fans of their earlier stuff probably won't care for it that much, but the hints are there that they could still do it. So this is kind of unexpected because for the most part, I didn't hate everything on this album, and I did find myself enjoying more things than not. I was prepared to completely rip this thing apart, give a lot of criticism, especially after going over the singles. I feel like this album is mostly good more than anything else. There's too many songs that were released. The lyrics are lame and pointless. The music isn't always the best. The production does drown out basically anything that does have potential, I guess you could say. It does feel like they're moving more in the right direction. So don't get me wrong. A lot of the choruses are the same. It still sounds like a lot of other bands. It is pretty soulless for the most part. But I actually found myself not feeling completely negative about this. So I got to give The Sky, The Earth, and All Between by Architects a 5.3 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. I have a feeling it might be kind of split on this album. Maybe not. Most people I feel like might agree with me on this. I know I sounded negative, but also kind of promising, and I gave this a 5.3, which is kind of lukewarm. But honestly, this is the first positive scoring I've given to an Architects album since I started this channel. So yeah, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of The Sky, The Earth, and All Between. Let me know what you'd rate it, what your favorite song is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, smash that like button, kill it, stab it, whatever you got to do. It helps out a lot with YouTube's algorithm. Also, if you want to help support me further than that, feel free to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Do any of that stuff goes so far. It'll keep my videos popping up in your recommended section. You won't miss out on any new Music Fridays or any other reviews, especially if you leave a request for one, which I do tend to try and get to more than anything else. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day, listening to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.